You don't chant for yourself.
Yes. Oh, my bad.
Oh, he does.
Yeah. I'm sorry. My bad.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Cool.
Go ahead. You like to talk. I understand. Big morning for Gregory. We'll get to it.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna discuss. Please make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. We are now less than 1,000 subscribers away from 50K. We talked about this yesterday. A lot of people helped us out. Once again, if you have a Bears fan out there you want to send this link off to, please do tell them to hit the subscribe button. If you listen to the podcast but you've never watched us on YouTube, please jump on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. And I'm going to add a little bit more to this, okay? Because I had a very good source yesterday informed me of some information that I personally feel pretty confident that Greg Braggs Jr. does not want out in the public. So,
oh my God, here we go.
Wow. If we get to 50K by the end of the week, I will disclose this information.
This is exciting.
I'm nervous.
Yeah.
Here.
So how about that for an incentive?
I'm intrigued.
Yeah. It's nothing bad.
Oh, are you talking about? I think I know what you're talking about.
Don't worry about it.
I bet you don't.
Where I lied to my boss last year to work at the combine.
No, but that was revealing
right
yesterday. But that's not what I'm talking about.
I don't care if he knows.
No, I know. But no, this is better than that. And I'm just throwing it out there. If we get 50K, that information's coming out. Also, make sure to follow us on Twitter at CHGO_Bears. Been a good morning there. A lot of good content popping up on the Twitter account. We're also on Instagram, CHGO_sports on Instagram. And we're going to have up-to-the-minute combine coverage all week long. Diehard coverage this week. I'm going to throw out a newsletter. I'm hoping tomorrow morning, some point this week, I will have a Diehard newsletter. And, of course, the mock draft came out yesterday. What else we got? We had Braggs did a 2-hour Diehard overtime yesterday on his way down here. And we welcome our brand new Diehards to CHGO.
My man Phil, leader Zach, dynamic Rob, killer Kyle, awesome Aaron, and Daredevil David. We're going quick today because it's a very newsy day. Thank you so much to all of you, Phil, Zach, Robert, Kyle, Aaron, and David. Welcome to the Die Hard family. We appreciate you.
All right, to recap the morning, I did a terrible job packing, so I had to go to the grocery store this morning, pick up some things. We got here just barely on time, at least the time I gave you guys, 9:30. Got here, though. We were ready to go. Ryan Poles talked at 10:15 Eastern time. A lot of interesting stuff. We're going to bring you a bunch of clips from that and discuss it here in a second. Then we got a little bit of work done, some stuff out. Matt Eberflus just got done talking in this room next to us just moments before the show started. So a lot to get to and some Jaylon Johnson conversation as well. But first, I want to start with just this before we get to the clips. Biggest takeaway from Ryan Poles talking this morning for each of us. We'll go through this quickly, but for me, it is when Greg asked him about comparisons between Caleb Williams and Patrick Mahomes, he didn't shy away from it. This is a guy who scouted Patrick Mahomes, was part of the Chiefs organization in Kansas City, knows a little something about that. Now, he didn't go all the way in and say, yeah, they're exactly the same, but he said there are pieces that are similar. So this is the team and the general manager that has the #1 overall pick in this draft and not shying away from that comparison. Because let me tell you, the normal GM response to that would be something that I think actually Adam Peters gave you later this morning, the Commanders GM, when you tried to get him on some of that. It wasn't exactly the same question, but you asked him about the quarterbacks, and he was just like, I'm not ready to talk about that yet. We're not that far along enough in this process. That's the normal GM response.
Right.
So that stood out to me that, oh, okay, we're not shying away from Mahomes here.
Well, and we'll hear the question here in a little bit, but I really framed it in a sense of what Cliff Kingsbury said, because to me that stands out. This is a guy that coached both Patrick Mahomes and Caleb Williams. He's called them eerily similar. Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus had an offensive coordinator meeting with him this year to obviously do a lot of digging into, the potential of, a guy like that being your offensive coordinator, but also probably more importantly, deeper dive into the potential of Caleb Williams. So they've just talked with him. And so I think that that's a big part of this evaluation is the coaches that have taught these guys through college.
All right, we're going to keep it moving. We're going to talk about more of that later. What was your biggest takeaway?
Well, he leaned into the arm angle is what I just wanted to say about that part, the creative ability to throw. And yes, we'll hear the quote in a little bit. It was a great job by you, Gregory, with the question. My biggest takeaway is that Ryan Poles feels way more on edge now than he did a year ago at this time. Not saying that he's losing his mind, not saying that
that was your biggest takeaway.
Oh,
that he wants this done tomorrow.
Okay, so you're going back. You're going back to what I said then. That was a long time ago. I have a lot of thoughts.
Oh, you
now.
changed in the last 2 hours.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, okay. So now I'm off track.
It was kind of the same thing,
right? But I just think he is exactly. Well, it is. It's the same general point that look. He would like to have this thing done tomorrow. That's what he said. And like the media laughed at him, but he's like, no, I'm serious. I'd like to have this done tomorrow because he's sitting on a very hot, stressful seat. He's got to make this decision. And he's talked over and over again about how he wants to do right by Justin and how he's kept in contact with Justin's team. And nobody wants to live in the gray is how he put it. So the liking and respect for Justin, of course, was there again. And then the last part for me, and I'm sorry, I went a little long here, Hoger, but he leaned into the person. The person matters to him who he's putting in that locker room if he's going to take Justin out of it. So that's the final piece that that he's going to have here at the combine.
And you just said it. That for me is the biggest takeaway is him saying, I got to do right by Fields. I think for most fans, that's what stood out the most.
I'm going to stick to the script here because the NFL script we're scripted. Jaylon Johnson's contract, they said it's in the process of getting Jaylon done. Conversation are going well. So there is a newsy item there. They obviously want to have Jaylon Johnson. Would prefer not to do the franchise tag, but are still working on getting that longer term contract done.
So these are some of the big takeaways from this conversation. Now we're going to get into more of the weeds of some of this individually, and we'll start with I think we got about 5 clips here to play for you from this interview. So we'll start with the uncertainty about Justin Fields, kind of more of what Carman was just talking about, and what Ryan Poles had to say about the field side of all of this craziness.
If we go down that road, I want to do right by Justin as well. No one wants to live in gray. I know that's uncomfortable. I wouldn't want to be in that situation either. So we'll gather the information. We'll move as quickly as possible. We're not going to be in a rush and see what presents itself and what's best for the organization.
So it did. Look, we talked about this on yesterday's show, and we discussed like what Poles would say about the Fields part of this, and I thought these answers today were pretty good on that. There's definitely some empathy. There's definitely awareness of his feelings. However, one of the questions I couldn't get into that I was trying to yell from the back and failed. When was the last time you talked to Justin? Because his answers to some of this was, well, we've been in contact with his camp.
Yep.
Right.
And I was trying to get a follow-up in. Well, when's the last time you talked to Justin? Because I think that's important. And maybe it was yesterday, but we don't necessarily know.
Well, he did tell him in his exit interview that they're going to lean into transparency, is how he put it, during this time. So,
but it also sucks because there's not much to
exactly.
There's not much to say about it right now. You know what I mean? Like, what are you supposed to tell him? It's been nothing but people like us talking about it for the last few months.
And it's obvious that Justin is annoyed by the process, as you would expect, as he's wanting to know what his future is going to be. And there is not a whole lot of communication coming from the Bears because they don't know their final decision yet, even though it seems, at least to a lot of people around here, that there's no question that they're going to be drafting Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that Ryan Poles can do if he doesn't have a decision made is like, hey, we'll give you an update when we have an update. So there's going to be a lot of downtime in between. If we're at this point right now, obviously Justin Fields wants clarity if he's going to be traded. But, hey, if they're not there at that point at the higher management of the Bears, then there really isn't much. I would assume there isn't much communication because they don't know that final answer that they're ultimately wanting to achieve right now.
Well, the person. We're going to be putting. We're going to be doing darts. They're doing that again this year.
Yep.
Leaning into into getting them relaxed. Let's just see what they're like. Let's see how you putt. Or if you choose darts, what would you choose? Would you go putting or darts? You'd go putting, right?
I would throw a dart.
No, I'd go putting.
I'd throw a dart.
Ted Lasso do the darts. Like it.
I was actually hoping for an upgrade on last year's activity. Like, what's the new one this year? But okay.
Yeah, I know.
No
they're
big deal.
sticking to the script. Worked out pretty good for them last year. Look, I think darts. There's the only downside in darts is if you miss the board completely.
That's a red flag.
But like if you putt, like you're expected to make the putt, and if you don't make it, it just doesn't look good. Whereas like whatever you hit on the dartboard's fine, and then it has the bonus of if you nail a bullseye. Like you might go number one. They might draft you number one.
I suppose that could be it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like leaning into the person, those interviews are 20 minutes,
I
right?
think they're 15.
So I'm sure there will be more, but you have to really be a complete fool to blow a 15-minute interview. I mean, I think I could probably get through a 15-minute interview and people might think that I'm fairly normal. I mean, it's really not that. Maybe not. But like,
That's a reach.
I've been,
I remember my interview with you when I was hired as an intern at WGN back in 2008.
That took 3 minutes.
I don't even know if it went 15 minutes, but I came out of the interview going, weirdo.
I mean, if Carman's doing
right.
a 15-minute interview, he's answering one question for 15 minutes.
Maybe so. Thank you. You can't ever talk about long-windedness.
You were the last. Yeah.
So, but like,
I'm the second to last.
But let's think about it. Poles is talking about the person. It's going to be hard for Caleb to not come across as a likable guy. So then what's he going to do? I mean,
there's way more to the process than that. There's going to be a dinner in LA. There's going to be a pro day. There's going to be all kinds of stuff.
Okay, fine. So this is
just one part of it.
So this is going to drag out for a while. This is not.
Yeah, but again, Ryan said he wants, if they're going to go down that road, he wants to do right by Justin before free agency. So, like, to me, that they did somewhat put a timeline on this.
That's fair.
Yeah. Well, and let's get to so here's the next thing from polls. This was does this include Braggs's outstanding Pulitzer Prize winning question or not? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But this is a question about
it does.
Basically the Mahomes Caleb comp.
In terms of your quarterback evaluation when you were in Kansas City, Cliff Kingsbury said that Patrick Mahomes and Caleb Williams are eerily similar. When you watch the tape, do you see that?
There's pieces that are similar. Obviously, the one that stands out to everyone is just different arm angles. That's a unique trait. Not a lot of guys can do that. I give Jeff King, who's on my team, credit. He painted a picture of, there's two types of quarterbacks. There's artists and then there's surgeons. So within that group, you can kind of see who's the artist that's really creative, doesn't draw within the lines, where there's more of surgeons who are, like your typical, like the Bradys and Peytons. So you kind of branch them out on those buckets and go from there. So that's where they're similar.
Is there a percentage you prefer with artists and surgeons?
No, winners.
But he sort of leaned into that. He's got some bit of both. Am I hearing that right?
But I guess that's my point. It didn't sound like when he first started that answer, I thought what he was going to be saying was there's quarterbacks that are just artists, but the real ones are surgeons. That's not exactly how he landed the plane on it, though, because he kind of made it more like, well, there's two types, and it's kind of more of whatever your flavor is. I mean, that's how I interpreted it.
Yeah, and that's where I wanted to understand, like, okay, is there a percentage of, because, like, I think a guy like Patrick Mahomes is both. He can carve you up and dissect you like a surgeon, and then he has that artistry to get out of the pocket and do things unique that aren't seen by many quarterbacks and, get creative, when he's getting in the red zone, he gets the defense to suck and he throws it over the top of their head. So, he said at the end of the day, he wants winners, of course. Mm-hmm. But I just think initially when he's talking about Jeff King, his scouting director, and how they're looking at quarterbacks, I would say Justin Fields is certainly an artist, when it comes to the way he plays the quarterback position, he creates. But is he a surgeon? That's the question.
Okay. I think it's just interesting that there's a window behind the scenes of how this is going. Like, these are the conversations. And this is a scouting director. He's telling them there's artists and there's surgeon. There's two ways to do this. And Poles is telling you when he says winners, I don't care how you do it, as long as we're winning games. Like, I don't have a huge preference. Like, you can be super creative. That's sweet if you win, or you can be a statue in there, but you get rid of the ball and you move us down the field and get us in the end zone. I'm down with that too. So, which also speaks to the way Flus was talking today about and how they've talked about Shane Waldron. They like him because he can develop different styles of quarterbacks. So,
well, and again, he went back to the adjustment thing too.
Yep.
And real quick on Flus. I there wasn't much from Flus.
Stacy Eberflus is his stylist. That was the biggest piece of news. Like, what?
I don't think that's her name.
Did I get it wrong?
What'd you say?
Stacy?
Stacy was
No, that's
Matt
Stacey
Nagy's.
Dales.
Matt Nagy's wife was Stacy.
Yeah, my bad, Flus. What?
Start with a C. I don't remember.
Cookie Flus? Was it Cookie?
I think my biggest takeaway from the Matt Eberflus presser is that
Candy Flus? No, it wasn't candy.
it's not candy.
I'll look it up.
I think the biggest
Jerry Ross
takeaway
knows.
I had from the Matt Eberflus presser is that I think he's fully aware that I fired him 4 times this season.
Yeah, actually, Steven, do we have that photo I sent to you right before the show started? It's in Slack if you have a second. I happened to capture the moment that Flus was listening to this suited up gentleman in the front row of the presser that was firing away with questions. And I thought it was an interesting photo. I thought the way he was looking at you
Yes, it was.
was interesting. I think we'll have it here in a second. But yeah. What I was saying with the Flus though, Pete Carroll, his conversation with Pete Carroll, I thought was like the one big takeaway that he's like, I talked to Pete Carroll and he's raving about Shane Waldron's ability to adjust, and he's raving about his work with quarterbacks, and that made him feel good about the hire here. So there's the photo of.
Can you imagine?
Staring daggers into Braggs' heart.
Who is this weird guy that somehow believes that even though he's been here for 5 seconds, that he should be in the front row with his suit on? And is that the guy on that podcast that's been crushing me?
Yeah, that
and
fired me.
Want to be fired in week 2, week 5, week.
Tried to get Jim Harbaugh in here.
I asked him whether or not he thought that the playoffs were a fair expectation. And I get that we're at the combine and the draft hasn't happened and free agency hasn't happened, but Kevin Warren spoke very clearly about year 3 being a jump. And I just think there is an expectation on this team to make a jump next year. And Flus could have said, yeah, I love the talent. I think we can absolutely get there. But he's like, well, we got a long way to go. There's this, there's that, draft, free agency, all of it. So he wasn't going to stamp that we should be a playoff team next year. I get that it's early, but I thought it was at least minorly interesting answer.
All right, the next thing we have from Ryan Poles, kind of going back to the Fields side of this, and this press conference was sort of back and forth. It was, some Fields conversation at the beginning, then Caleb Williams, then Fields. But one of the things that's definitely involved in this whole thing is just if they trade Justin Fields, how does the team dynamic handle that? How does the locker room handle that? And this is about Poles dealing with the support for Justin on the team.
He's a leader. Everything our guys have said is true, and not surprised our guys have said what they have said. I feel the same way. And I think sometimes this whole thing gets, Justin versus another person. And I have to look at it a little bit differently. I take that into effect. That's why the person is so important when we evaluate other people that would come in that position. But also it's my job to think of the long term, and a lot of our guys kind of don't see that. That's not their job to do that, and they defend their guy, which I think speaks volumes about our culture and our locker room.
Do you guys think that this is a big deal or not? I think it's a big-ish deal, but I think depending on the timing of the trade, if and when it happens, will affect how big of a deal it actually is. And I know I've said this before, but I'm like, if you trade Justin next week, I think by the time they get in the building April 15th, you can smooth things over. You can, everyone's going to come in there and understand the situation. By then, a month will have gone by since the trade happened. As opposed to if this happens on draft night and Justin's already been back in the building, or does Justin even come back in the building on April 15th? Remember, that's optional. You know, is he so much in limbo with 2 weeks before the draft that he doesn't even show up? Because I would put that on the table. As much as Justin's obviously a team player, it's a very weird situation to be in. So that would, to me, be another reason on the list of Carm, like earlier when we were talking about like him saying, yeah, ideally I'd rather get this done tomorrow.
I can't imagine a scenario where Justin's back in the building if they haven't made a decision yet. That seems way off. But I also think, like, to the larger point, as far as just communicating to the team, sure, there will be guys in there that will feel bad that Justin's gone. And they're also professional athletes who see guys leaving and going all the time. And they're going to move forward and try to make as much money and win as many games they possibly can, whoever is quarterbacking the team. So I don't think that there's going to be some huge thing that the Bears are going to have to overcome, as long as the guy that they're bringing in is capable of stepping in and being in the role and owning his space in that locker room.
Nick, Nick, you're in there all the time. What do you think?
So I would say the sooner the better, because I think after the season, when you're asking guys this question, of course they're going to be really supportive of Justin Fields, but we've had a couple of players on the CHGO Bears podcast, and I think they understand it is a business. So if the Bears do go in this direction, like Ryan Poles was just saying earlier, like that's his job to do. I think the players would understand that. So if you're looking to make this big time decision, yes, of course, sooner better. So then you can get acclimated, you can go into these camps and have presumably the new quarterback in there, give him time to acclimate to his new teammates. But I even think some of the Bears players, when you ask them about Justin Fields, they understand that this is a possibility, as opposed to early on, right after the season ended. It's like, you're going to go to bat for Justin Fields no matter what. He's the guy you just went through the whole entire season with. So sooner the better, but I think a lot of these players just understand this is a business.
For sure. To me, it's a clarity across the board. Justin's peace of mind, but from an organizational standpoint, free agency standpoint, I mean, that's why Ryan Poles traded the #1 pick last year. This, a week from, today, last year, and so the reason being, so you can have clarity on how you're going to approach the rest of your offseason. So I think it's peace of mind for both sides of the aisle on this.
Yeah, and I think especially that other team that's involved in the trade, if you're acquiring Justin, I mean, you want to know who your quarterback is, ideally, before free agency.
Right.
Because you don't want to be stuck at the end of the draft, not have any of the guys in the draft, not have Justin, however it works out, because, let's say there's 3 teams that really want Justin. Well, 2 of them's not going to get him.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting situation. I've been around this long enough. I think they're going to be fine no matter what.
As far as
like getting over it. I think they'll be fine. I think the bigger question, honestly,
you're
is
talking about the players.
Yeah, the locker room.
And you've already got Fields talking about playing. He's talking about the Falcons and the Steelers with the St. Brown brothers on a podcast. He's currently on the Bears roster talking about other teams in the NFC.
Yeah, that doesn't really bother me that much. But
he was asked about it.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me. But here's the thing. I just like it. To me, it's just more about the awkwardness level of it. Because if it's not resolved by April 15th when they're all back in the building, then it becomes a little awkward. I think the bigger question just becomes more, you zoom out like a year from now, and what is the quarterback dynamic in that locker room like compared to what it is now with Justin? No matter who the quarterback is that's in there. That's the bigger thing to me. I don't think there's some type of mutiny that happens if they trade Justin Fields, but that doesn't mean that's going to be the exact same. In fact, it won't be. Anytime you change the quarterback room, there's going to be different dynamics.
Which goes back to why he keeps on talking about the person. Because Poles knows that, hey, look, as long as I put somebody in there that can be a leader for this team, be a first-class guy, then I think the locker room is going to be just fine. If I bring in somebody who's going to not be that, then things could get a little bit ugly.
But you know what? It's not. The thing is like when the quarterback room was Justin Fields, Andy Dalton, and Nick Foles. You had any character concerns about any 3 of those guys?
Well, Nick Foles was certainly raising hell that last year.
Well, I'm just saying, but that's
I'm not saying he's a bad character guy.
But that's my point.
He was not happy.
Exactly. That's my point. My point is that just because these guys, you could assemble a whole team of good dudes, that doesn't mean that once you get inside that locker room or those meeting rooms, that everything's just, we have a great locker room. Everything's great. No, it's the NFL. Tensions are high.
Right.
You know,
And-
winning solves everything too.
Yeah,
Like you
and
can
that's the
have
thing.
some guys that have different personalities and whatnot. They may not fit, but if you're winning on the football
just wanna
field,
win.
hey, that's what's going to solve everything right there.
Exactly. All right. Now, the next brag was this the last? Was this the last question? I think it was the last question.
Yeah.
From Ryan, or to Ryan Poles, I should say, on if basically if you are zeroed in on your guy, is there anything that could move you off your guy?
If you identify a quarterback prospect as your guy, is there any price that can move you off of your guy?
Would it be our guy, right? Like it's not about me at all. That's hard to answer right now because I need kind of the whole puzzle put together to figure that out.
So that beginning part was a little bit of a dodge where he's picking on like just not picking
The
on you,
wording.
but just like, yeah,
Narrowing,
he's
yeah.
like, yeah, well, it's our guy. You know, the reason I bring that up is in comparison to your first question about bringing up Mahomes, where he directly answered, well, there's pieces to it. This was more of a GM trying to avoid the answer to the question because it was a great question. It's a very important question. Like, because it's very possible that they're leaning one way, that they feel very strongly about one of these quarterbacks, presumably most likely Caleb Williams. But what is the package that would actually move you off that
Right.
guy?
Does every player have a price, or is
Yeah.
there some players that have no price?
Mm-hmm.
They're priceless, like you.
Thank you.
Well,
That's right.
well, to me, you are priceless, as are all of you. Look, I think it's informative though, because everyone's like, well, Fields isn't Poles' guy. He wants to go get his guy. So then my little shallow Sigmund Freud 5-second psychological analysis of that thing is like, look, it ain't about me, man. It's not about me getting my guy in here so I can tell you that I drafted this guy and I found him
Right.
and that's why we are winning. It's because of me. I don't think he's looking at it like this. I think he's it's more steward of the franchise, trying to do what's best for the team. If that's Justin, great. And if it's Caleb, great. But he's trying to make a decision, not so much to have quote unquote his guy.
Right, and that's what they say, right? Nick is they fans are always saying like a GM is gonna get his guy. He's not gonna get saddled with a quarterback that he didn't draft. So I just I'm curious, or it is interesting that he doesn't look at it that way, or at least won't openly admit it.
Well, I mean, it's a collaborative effort on finding their guy, like he was kind of deflecting the wordage there, right? So I think as an organization, you all want to say that this is the guy that we all invested in right here. So, I mean, I get why he went the route that he did when answering the question, but ultimately they're still trying to find, quote unquote, their
Well,
guy.
and when they drafted Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, Ryan Poles wasn't the head of that evaluation, but he was a part
College
of that
scouting, yeah.
team. They all as a collaborative decided this was our guy that we want to go all in on.
I mean, it's tricky too. Like if he says no, there is no price, then it's like, oh, is he? And then you wonder, like, well, is he the guy? Is he saying that he's the guy? Like, he could have said that. Absolutely not. If I think this guy is a stud, I ain't trading it. Period. Would have been a very direct, cool answer, but he didn't go there.
Or yes, there is a price, and if somebody wants to give me an insane generational haul,
Which is kind of what he said earlier he did at one time in that press conference, basically just say like, last year worked out. We got a haul that really helped our team, and that's what we'd be looking for again. He did say that. So he did lay. I thought Ryan Poles did overall a pretty good job today of. I don't think it changed anything off where this seems to be headed, but he left both doors open for both possibilities at least, and he did put out to the rest of the league. And as he says, his phone's been blowing up. That we're open for business on both ends. We want to hear all the offers. We want to hear what everyone's interested in, and then we'll go make the best decision for the franchise. You know what the best decision for us, I know at some point tonight, will be?
What's that, Adam?
Miller Lite.
Oh yeah, plenty of Miller Lite.
Miller Lite, so delicious, so fantastic. 3.2 grams of carbs in that 12-ounce can, Hoge.
Yeah, that's right.
Getting good at
How
that.
many calories?
I believe it was 92,
94.
94, 96,
96.
96.
I was born in
It's been a long morning.
Yeah, just
a lot of Miller Lite.
96. Alex Brown. Think about it that way.
There we go. There we go.
There you are. But no matter how you're celebrating St. Patrick's Day or, I guess the NFL Combine here, it's a great excuse to gather with friends and crack open a cold one. Enjoy these moments with Miller Lite, the original light beer, and still the best one. Miller Lite has more of the taste you want, less of the stuff you don't. And that's why it's our go-to light beer, which you got to go light here at the Combine because there's
you got to pace yourself.
You got to pace yourself. It's a long week.
Somebody's already lost their voice. I don't know which one of us.
Yeah.
Well, he's been asking some great questions. So
when you ask 16 questions to the head coach,
Yes,
in a 15-minute press conference,
That's the reason.
Yeah.
You lose your voice. But we'll get it back. Some Miller Lite will help a little bit with that. Miller Lite is celebrating St. Patrick's Day this year by offering lucky winners and their crew the opportunity to see the Chicago River dyed green up close and personal on the Miller Lite party boat. To enter for your chance to win, visit MillerLite.com/Chicago St. Pat's. It's Chicago STPATS. No purchase necessary. Promotion ends March 1st and is only open to legal residents of Illinois and Indiana who are 21 years or older. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
All right, coming up this weekend, Adam Hoge will be there rocking and rolling. It is Monster Jam time. It's the most.
I sold you on Monster Jam last night.
You did. You got me.
You needed some convincing, and by the end of the conversation, you're like, I might come.
I am debating spending my Saturday somewhere around the Hoge family at Monster Jam. Did you know how much the one individual tire weighs on a Monster Jam truck there, Sir Hoge?
No.
1 ton.
No, it's only a tire now.
It's a heavy tire.
I thought we were talking about Bragg's.
They're 68 inches tall and they weigh.
I lost my train of thought there. I didn't know I was going there, buddy.
645 pounds.
That's a heavy
I
tire.
didn't even, what?
I was going to say you had 1 ton of excitement over your question getting played on the Rich Eisen show today.
I'm looking at it right now. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's
me and Fishbane on the Rich Eisen show.
Wow, what a duo.
Yeah. I mean, Fishbane was actually on the show, but you're basically.
We don't have to go through, the particulars.
Which question did he play?
The Caleb versus Mahomes.
Okay, that's excellent work by you, Greg.
Let's see if John Greenberg writes an article about that.
Yeah, John
Greenberg is having a great time with us, and we love John Greenberg.
That's the first thing I said to John last night.
And
we also love Monster Jam, though.
By the way, Ron Rivera coming up later in the show. Hey, the most unexpected, unscripted, and unforgettable motorsports experience for families and fans in the world today is coming back to Chicagoland for the adrenaline-charged weekend. It's this weekend, Allstate Arena, March 1st to the 3rd. This weekend, come on out. The world's best drivers showed off their crazy skills and all-out racing in a fierce head-to-head battle for the event championship. See world-class athletes like Greg Braggs in action, performing the craziest stunts in motorsports. Experience the big-time family fun. Monster Jam, unexpected, unscripted, unforgettable. This is Monster Jam. See it live at Allstate Arena, March 1 to 3rd this weekend. The link for tickets.
Days? 1
to the 3. One is Friday, 3 is Sunday. You're going on Sunday. I might go on Sunday. We won't be there Friday because we'll be here. Saturday's a possibility, but of course, Sunday's a great day to go. And the link for tickets are in the description. Come on out. Gary Ross is going to be there. Monster Jam.
I'm excited. All right. Yes, we do have Ron Rivera coming up later in the show. We ran into Ron. Had a really good conversation with him earlier this morning. He, of course, a lot of connections to the Bears, besides just playing for the 85 Bears, obviously, right, which was the bit number one. But a lot of things to talk to him about because Eric Washington coached under him in Carolina.
That guy, Montez Sweat
played for him last year. He coached against the Bears offense the last couple of years, coached against Justin Fields, and he's getting in the media right now too. So he wasn't holding back on some of his thoughts on what the Bears need to look at with their quarterback decision. So that's all coming up a little bit later on the show, but we got to talk about Jaylon Johnson. Obviously the quarterback talk, a big part of this morning with Ryan Poles, but the Jaylon Johnson was maybe the newsiest part. Because again, yesterday's show, we talked about what is he going to say? Basically what he had to say was this.
Jaylon Johnson. In the process of getting Jaylon Johnson done, conversations are going well at this time. We feel like we've done a really good job kind of coming to the table strong, showing the respect that he's due just in terms of his production through his career, and really an emphasis on the turnovers that he created this past year. Our expectation is that's going to continue to go as he's with the Bears. When I say coming strong, that means cash flows are strong, guarantees are strong. The term is strong for him. Being hit with his age, there's a really good opportunity for him to go back to the market again and continue to earn money and play well, and hopefully that's with the Bears for a long period of time. So I'm excited about that. Like I've said about those deals all the time, it takes two to tango, and you got to find a place that everyone feels comfortable with. So I feel really good about that situation.
Talking about getting it done. Talking about kind of reveal, like without going through numbers, revealing parts of what their offer is right now, saying that it's strong in guarantees, giving him an opportunity to get back on the market at some point, which tells me it's not necessarily
The longest term deal.
maybe a 3-year deal. Might be talking, sort of like the Allen Robinson contract the Bears signed him to, which was a 3-year deal originally. But
Sounds like they're coming up on the money and maybe down in the years.
I think that's a good way to think about it.
I found it positive though that they're going in this this trajectory right now where it seems like that obviously the priority, they want Jaylon Johnson here. Even hearing Matt Eberflus a little bit ago,
Yep.
like he hopes they're close. He said that. So
He talked about how important he was to
Exactly.
the defense. I mean, that goes without saying, but he really illustrated it.
Based on what was said today, if the franchise tag ends up being used by the end of this deadline coming up, that would be a disappointment. I think to everybody involved, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And I think that they're all hoping that they. It sounds to me like, and even including what Flu said to say today, like he said he's proud that he became a ball guy who got his hands on the ball more and started making those plays, and that was an important part of this. So
Yep.
my translation to that is that equals money. Now, on the other hand, are they going to bring up the couple drop pick sixes in there? Probably, too. And I think they're hoping, hey, Jaylon, look, we'll bring you to the top of the market in APY, average per year. But you know what? We're gonna make this a little bit shorter of a deal. We're gonna get you back into the market in a couple years from now, maybe 3 years from now, too, and give you that opportunity as we make you, one of the highest paid corners over the next few years.
And I think too, like Mark, you asked Eberflus a question about competing. Jaylon Johnson being here for a longer period of time helps the Bears to be in that window of competing. He's one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL and showed that he can create the ball production that they've been looking for, that he bet on himself to do in 2023. And to compete, you need to have elite players at premium positions. That's what Jaylon Johnson is. So in order to get to where the Bears want to go and ultimately being in the playoffs, you need to keep those guys. And preferably, if you can do it on a longer-term deal, it's exactly how the Bears should be approaching this. That's how Jaylon Johnson should be doing it, because that's also going to mean more money in his pocket.
I'm going to go a little bold here. This is Tuesday. We are here till Friday.
Uh-oh.
I think it gets done before we leave.
Wow.
Prediction.
Well, agents are here, too.
Ryan
Poles.
He laid out basically the whole thing of what's going
I
on.
know.
It's got to be close. He's got to be right there.
Who's going to get more sleep this week, Ryan Poles or Greg?
Ryan.
Well, Greg is planning on.
I'm just trying to think of how. Okay, so they have all these prospect interviews they got to do. They got the workouts to watch. Ryan's got every team in the league calling him right now.
We
Not
saw him,
literally.
We
but
saw him walking down the hall on the phone. He was talking on the phone.
we buried that. That was. By the way, do you know why he was late?
No.
He was talking to Larry Mayer.
That's
Lunch with Larry.
Yeah, it was lunch with Larry. But
rude of Larry.
But
Don't
Brunch with Larry.
Don't like
Brunch
Larry.
Early.
Yeah.
don't say that about Larry. Larry's a
It's very-
nice
Joey.
gentleman.
overrated, Larry.
Whoa.
Whoa. Fired.
Wow, why are we
Whoa.
creating
We're not
beef
bold
with Larry
predictions
Mayer?
here.
Whoa.
Shooting.
Larry's just
Larry.
not respecting the media. It's 10 minutes late. I got a lot of things to do.
We
No,
were
I
able to
love-
get Ron
I love-
Rivera in that time, though.
We could have gone longer with Rivera if we had known that lunch with Larry was
Good
happening.
point. Larry should have texted us and said, "You can keep going with your Ron Rivera interview."
Right.
That got interrupted by a meeting
By a
starting in the
meeting.
middle of our interview.
You'll see that in a second.
Rude to Larry.
But what I was going to get to is when he finally got done talking to Larry, and then Larry came down the hallway, and then that was the most dramatic entrance I've ever seen in my life.
By Poles or by Larry?
No, the walk up with Poles. It started in that the skywalk that goes across.
Right.
I think that's West Street, right outside the JW Marriott.
Sure.
And they're already got Bears photographers taking photos of them. Then it's this huge walk down this convention hallway, and then he finally gets
Poles Taylor Swift, man. That's.
I was thinking if I was
not
Ryan
do that.
Poles in that situation, like, are you looking at one on the camera? Are you looking at a spot trying to like not even think that they're there? I was like trying to picture myself in that situation. Like, how would I handle all those cameras? Just watch me walk.
Yeah.
Just focus.
I actually have a little bit of a video of it. I should probably put on the social medias.
Quickly back to focusing. The tag deadline, they can tag him, obviously, but the window goes until March 5th. So it's not a lot of time. You know, my bold prediction is that they get it done by March 1st. They really,
yeah.
it's not, I mean, we're coming up on it here. So,
I mean, that basically means that if it's not done by the time they leave here, that's got to be the biggest priority. You know,
I mean, he's still
early next week. But that's kind of what I was getting at. Was just like there's so much. Like this week is just so busy for the Bears, for Ryan Poles in particular. You know, at some point he's going to have to take some time away too to you know, talk to Greg.
that's right.
And continue that annual
That'd be quite
tradition.
lovely.
So, you know, there's a
long as
lot of
Matt's
things on the
not there.
agenda.
Well, Greg is planning on finding Poles at some bar this week and buying him as many drinks as he can possibly consume. Correct? That is your plan?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah.
Me and Ryan will shoot shots until we get this thing figured out.
Ooh. Well, now that
Oh, man.
that I would love to film
Yes.
and share with everybody.
Yeah.
But that's not happening.
Hey, look,
I mean,
John-
the whole thing's not happening, but
Look,
yeah.
John Lynch is over there. You want to yell arguable goat at him?
Well, he did fleece the Bears that one time.
I'd love to talk to him. If you could
I'd love
go
to
remove
talk.
yourself from the show and get him in here, that'd be wonderful.
That's exactly how the combine works. You just ask random GMs walking around if they'll just come sit down.
Well, he's having a combo over there. We probably can get him.
It's called an interview.
Yeah, it probably pre-scheduled. All right. We good on the Jaylon Johnson situation?
Yeah, I hope they get something.
I was a
done for
little
sure.
bit surprised that it was that demonstrative of, but I think it was a good play by him too. Hey, we're doing our part.
Good
We're all
years,
in.
That's true.
good years, good money, good everything. He's going to be a free agent again. It's good. It's really good.
Basically saying, all right, you want to take it? And the ball's back in your court, I should say. So that was,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh boy.
yeah, Carman's the
You
wrong.
You know what? Maybe I should tell
Yeah, I do.
everybody about
I do.
Circa in the
Thank you. Go
meantime
ahead.
right
Thank you,
now.
Nick. Way to
And
pick up your
look,
boy here.
the tight money line splits, low hold model games will strive to be at -110 split on the Circa Sports menu, unlike other sports books, which may use, you know, the -115 or even the -120 split. Circa Sports keeps as little money as possible on large market bets, you know, the futures, golf tournaments, etc. But especially compared to the other books, high app limits and transparency. Circa Sports does not limit players based on their winnings. Every player has the same limits, unlike other books who do not limit winning players. That's huge, and we encourage bettors to download and explore all sports betting apps available, and you can compare the lines from each sports book yourself. And the Circa customer service. There are real people behind the Circa Sports brand who resolve issues in a timely fashion, unlike other books who use chatbots. All aspects of the app are being run by the same team that runs the main Circa Sportsbook and Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. Here's what you need to do. Download the Circa Sports Illinois app at circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today. Also, be on the lookout for Circa events, watch parties, and tailgates. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537. Text GAMB to 833-234 or visit areyoureallywinning.com.
Get your dry cleaning, all your cleaning done at CD1 Price Cleaners. Customers saving over 30% on their dry cleaning bill by switching to CD1 Price Cleaners. Other cleaners, they charge a different price for every garment type. They got upcharges, and you're going to go in there, you can pay a different price each time you visit. You don't want that. You want CD1 Price Cleaners, where they charge one low price for any garment. That's right. Sports jerseys, same low price. You want to get your new Bears, whoever you think they're going to draft jersey, get it cleaned at CD1 Price Cleaners, which has your order ready the same or the next day, which is sweet. Dry cleaning is part of their things they do, but they also wash and fold laundry, blankets and comforts, tailoring alterations, leather cleaning, area rug cleaning. They do it all. Visit chgo.cd1.com. Links in the description, but chgo.cd1.com. Once there, you can pick from the in-store coupon or the online pickup, and there's delivery coupon options as well. CD1 Price Cleaners. Learning that I can't see without my glasses. It's is a rough moment in time.
It also helps when you're in the right rundown.
Well, right, but if you got to see that I couldn't see. Like, I went to the first thing, so I thought it was that day, and
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's been a long week.
I blame myself. I point the thumb. It is on me. Thank you.
If I were to tell you that members of the Bears media corps had bets placed on how many questions Braggs was going to ask Ryan Poles, would you be surprised by
you
that?
guys did, huh?
No, not you guys. I heard about this later.
Oh, okay.
I can report that Kevin Fishbane lost a bet to Adam Johns.
I like
What was
it.
the over-under?
Well, Kevin did not think you were going to ask a single question,
Kevin didn't think that.
which I immediately
Laughed at.
said I would have set the odds at minus 1,000 that at least one question would get asked.
I mean, that's just
Stole money there.
Clearly, Kevin doesn't know me well enough yet.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's by design.
I would have been with Hoge on that. I absolutely knew a question was coming, but when it did come, I did feel like crawling under a table that wasn't there, so I hid behind Mark Grody.
Your
nervous?
nose popped up a little bit
I
there.
genuinely thought Greg did a good job. I thought the
Oh,
questions
yeah.
were timely.
Thought
He
he
had a
did-
follow-up.
Carm's always telling me to be quick with it.
Get it out there.
Especially in that kind of a setting.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about that advice the whole time. I'm like, all right, I got to say this right, say it quick. Then the other part is Carm is directly behind Poles in my direct line of sight. So the other thing I was really nervous about when I was asking Ryan questions was catching eye contact with Carm, because he would
One
have
of these.
he would have made me start laughing. 100% would have made me start laughing.
hilarious.
So
I couldn't handle it. I was rooting for you. I was nervous. I hid. You did a great job. It was a strong
Thank you.
performance.
I give you an A for polls and a C+ for
The only
Blues.
thing, though, Greg, there was one cameraman from the NFL
Yeah.
network. He kept tapping me to tap you
Yeah.
to get out of the way. But I mean, it worked out. You were asking questions. You were in the zone, so I helped
That's
you out. We're
next
all good.
level
All teamwork.
understanding of not being in the shot, but also,
Yeah.
man, I don't know, get there earlier and get a better shot.
Well, and we got the good answer.
Yeah.
Braggs got us the answer that
Everybody.
Poles looks at Caleb as Mahomes, and he's going to draft him. Basically, that's what you did.
I'm just go ahead.
Here's the last point I want to make on just today with polls and what he had to say, just more of the general overall vibe. And then we'll talk to Ron Rivera here in a second. I think you guys are going to want to hear that interview as well. But look, part of why I love coming down here every year, and part of why I think it's very important to spend significant time down here in what is really, I know it's called the Combine, and I know there's workouts and there's all this stuff, but it's really the yearly convention for the NFL. Every GM is here. Every head, this has changed. I think like Mike McCarthy is not here. Sometimes there's a few head coaches that don't show up, but almost every head coach is here. Almost every coaching staff is here. Agents, media, broadcast partners, like literally the whole deal. A lot of this is done this week in Indianapolis. And what that leads to is it just leads to a lot of conversation, and something that's very important in what we do here in covering sports, and specifically the NFL, is just having a feel. like an instinctual feel for what's going on.
Yep.
And yeah, some of that's a speculation to some standpoint, but it's very informed speculation. And I think that where I'm going with this is last year when we were sitting literally in the same exact spot, because they gave us the same exact spot in the same corner
Nice spot.
on
I like
Radio
the
Row.
corner.
I
And
like it.
like the same people are by us too, except the Raiders aren't here.
They love us.
The Raiders got sick of us. They moved all the way over there. The Raiders moving again. How about that? Who's surprised?
Yeah.
Flus was asked about Getsy, by the way, and he gave a nice compliment to him. Speaking of the Raiders, keep going.
Last year when we were having these almost exact same conversations, because let me ask you this, guys. What pick did the Bears have at this time last year?
1.
Who was their quarterback?
Justin
Justin
Fields.
Fields.
And were there quarterback prospects that were being considered for picks 1, 2, 3, etc.?
Yes.
Okay. So it's the same exact situation.
Yep.
From just the pieces of the currency that the Bears have,
Right.
and the quarterback that they currently have on their roster.
Right.
And the point I'm getting at is it could not be more opposite
Yep.
in what it feels like
Yep.
right now. Last year we were all sitting here and there was all this conversation. Mike Tannenbaum sat here and he's like, I think that they should trade Fields. And we were all just like, regardless of whether you think that or not, it's not happening.
Right.
It's not happening. This year, it could not feel more different. And I thought Ryan Poles, multiple times in what he said today, sounded much different. There were a couple tiny, like, just tells. And, like, he got asked directly, does this combine feel different to you? And based on what I just said, it should be the same situation. But he goes, no, it's unique.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yep.
So that right there is a tiny thing. Here's Adam Johns with a quote. He calls it an important quote from Ryan Poles on Justin Fields and team support. Quote, it's my job to think of the long term. And a lot of our guys kind of don't see that. It's not their job to do that. And they defend their guy, which I think speaks volumes about our culture in that locker room. That is an important quote. Like he's basically saying it's my job to look long term. They might not see that. We're seeing that right now.
Right. Did at any point last year, did he have to emphasize that he was going to do right by Justin? No, because all the talk, all the questions, all the rumors this time last year at the combine were about what team is going to trade up to 1. Is it going to be the Texans at 2? Is there going to be a double trade back? Are the Panthers going to be in on this? Talking to Scott Fitterer and Frank Reich, it certainly seemed like it. And then to your point, Hoge, about what you see, it's not just about what you're hearing, but it's just about keeping your eyes open. Ryan Poles was just doing an interview earlier, right after he was done with the Chicago media. He was talking with a handful of guys that are quote unquote insiders. And so now you wait a day or so or less than 24 hours and maybe one of those insiders comes out and says something. Maybe he heard that from a conversation he just had. That's kind of how you try to put the pieces together here at the NFL Combine.
We left the Combine last year with the very strong sense that something was going to happen fairly soon as far as when the Bears were going to trade the number 1 pick. I don't know.
But they weren't trading Fields.
Right.
No.
We knew they weren't trading Justin, and we also knew that in all likelihood the number 1 pick was going to be moved fairly soon, which is exactly what happened when he got the offer that he couldn't refuse from Scott Fitterer. Now, this feels like it could drag on a bit here. Maybe not, but he's in a hurry.
He's definitely being more protective about the win for this decision this year than last year, where it felt imminent.
I'm in a hurry, but I'm not in a rush, or however he put it. Like, he's got to sit in the anxiety. That's his biggest job right now.
But it's also important to point out we haven't even been here for 24 hours right now.
True.
So I think the first impressions are big. But wasn't it day 2 of the combine last year when the whole Jaylon Carter thing
that blew up,
and we're all sitting there like, what is going on? He's not coming. He was supposed to literally be talking at a podium over there and didn't show up because all of a sudden he was facing charges
arrest warrant
in Georgia. So there's some wild stuff that can happen down here. There's things that can change. But that's why we're here all week. We're going to talk to a lot of different people. Some of those insiders we're going to try to get here on the show. We're going to talk to Jeremy Fowler tomorrow.
Potentially, we just got to make sure we get the. He did say yes, but you know how that goes. I learned my lesson.
Wow, that was a very different answer than he gave us right before the show.
I talked to him earlier, and he said he would come on tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
He said he would come on tomorrow live on the show, but I just learned my lesson from the Super Bowl. Schedules change.
That's true.
Things happen.
That's
go.
true.
So I just
Okay.
want to preface it because
We are hoping to talk to Jeremy Fowler tomorrow.
That's the phrase.
Oh, I almost
And if
ran
he-
over Jeremy Fowler. Good, yeah. But now that we're talking about that, he tried crossing the street with like no sign, or like, oh shoot, I can't cross here. Like, all right, Jeremy,
What'd you hit him
Yeah,
with?
please
Your
don't
car?
worry.
my
Marvel.
car.
Oh, you were driving?
I was driving. Yeah.
that would have
So,
been bad because he says dialed in to what's going on with the Bears. This
except when he's
offseason
crossing the
against
street, he's not
everybody.
dialed.
All right, well, let's definitely not tell him that the guy that almost killed him
No, we
yesterday was on
definitely
the
should.
show.
Carm 100% will.
Well, but I'm saying we can once he's on the show, but not before he gets here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Save it.
I
Save it for the air.
support crossing the street how you want to cross the street. That's how I cross the street. I'm more excited about having Fowler on than I was 10 minutes ago, and that's hard to do. So congratulations. I'm glad that Fowler lives life on his terms. I'm not waiting for some stupid light. I just get to walk because I'm Jeremy Fowler. I'm Carm.
We're also going to bring in Carm's friend, Matt Verderam, at some point,
It was
who,
the most direct dude of all time.
Yeah.
who might break the internet with his Justin Fields take if it's the same one we heard 20 minutes before the show started.
No one believes in their opinions more than Matt Verderam believes in his opinions. He is just
It's great.
You're not moving him off his stuff at all.
All right.
He's a great man.
Well, one person I can guarantee we're having on the show is Ron Rivera because we already recorded it. We already talked to him. There's no way he's getting out of this one. We had a great talk with Ron, who's always. We walked away from this interview and Carm goes, "Is that the nicest man that's ever lived?"
Seriously.
Yeah,
He
he
was-
he is the best. Oh, longtime Bear, longtime WGN guy before he got back into the whole coaching thing. Then that worked out for him pretty well, being a head coach for as long as he was.
Well,
So-
a lot of unique connections too. Carolina and Cam, and obviously with the Commanders and playing the Bears last couple of years.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
This
here.
is all Bears talk with Ron, the former head coach of the Carolina Panthers, Washington Commanders, and former DC for the Bears, of course, player as well, Ron Rivera. All right, we found Ron Rivera here at the NFL Combine. Of course, you're a Bear. We consider you a Bear for sure, without a doubt. So great to see you.
Thank you.
And a couple of things. I mean, we got a lot of connections. I feel like with this Bears team that
Yes.
I wanted to ask you about.
Okay.
I want to start with Montez Sweat.
Oh my gosh.
Because this trade that the Bears made with you guys last season, it really worked out. I mean, for him to lead two different teams in sacks in one season is pretty incredible. But what did you appreciate about Montez, and what did you hate about losing him in the middle of the year too?
Well, it's exactly that, losing him, period. I mean, it was one of those things that it was a decision that was made based on what the value was. Obviously, getting that high second-round pick was important going forward. But unfortunately for us, during our situation, that was a big part of our pass rush. It really was. But the thing I loved about him is just, first of all, his pure love of rushing the passer. I mean, his ability to do it is tremendous, but he loves getting off quickly and getting vertical quickly and getting after the quarterback. So, it doesn't surprise me that he did that. He's got that kind of ability. He's a tremendous athlete, and he's a guy that just, again, loves to have success.
So some guys, they get that level of money, they might lose a drop of the motivation. But you already said no. Like, he's not that way at all. It doesn't seem like that. So where do you, if you were to underline his motivation, his pride in playing the game?
I think exactly what you said, his pride in playing the game. He is a very prideful young man who wants to have success, who wants to do things the right way, and he'll continue to do that. He'll play like that, and he's a guy I think that has matured very nicely, and is going to be a good example for the young guys going forward, and be a good leader on his own. He'll learn to step up and and help the guys around him. And that's the thing about guys like him, is they make the players around them better. Because the visibility to get on the hoop and get around the edges forces that quarterback to step into the interior pass rush or the blitzers that are coming from the inside. And that's where the big plays come for everybody else.
When I was concerned about, he's leaving a pretty good defensive, can he do this? Not on his own, but with less talent around him. And he was able to do it. Did you think that he'd be as impactful without who he's playing with you guys?
I did. I really did. I mean, because he is that good a football player.
Yeah.
The Bears are almost trying to go old school with the defensive scheme they brought in with Matt Eberflus. It's worked out pretty well. Made a huge step forward last year. New defensive coordinator Eric Washington, you had him in Carolina. What are the Bears getting there with their new DC?
Well, I think what they're getting first and foremost is guys that are going to make sure that pass rush is special. You know, Eric's forte, more so than anything else, has always been the pass rush. He was tremendous for us when we were in Carolina. We had one of the top pass rushes for the longest time because of Eric, and he'll come in and he'll have tremendous pass rush game plans, that's for sure. The way they practice is going to be different. He's going to push these guys to be even better than they have been. So there's a lot of good things that you guys can expect from him. I think he'll bring a different outlook and a different perspective, having gone from Carolina to Buffalo, working with Sean McDermott and having the success that they had up there. Sean was with me in Carolina as well. So there's an opportunity to really pull a lot of good things together there.
What should they do at quarterback? Can you?
Well, there's two perspectives and there's two thoughts here. Okay, one is, you know, is Justin your guy? Based on what you started to see, the connection he had with DJ, okay, Komet at tight end, the other receivers, the potential with this running game, add a couple more pieces to the offensive line. Is that good enough for you to get into the playoffs and advance? And that's one of the decisions that has to be made by the upper echelon at Hallis Hall. Or do you go with the rookie quarterback using the rookie salary to help you put the other pieces in place and then thrust yourself into the playoff picture because you've added the right pieces at the right price and now the economics of football are in your favor?
So taking out Justin, Caleb, and I think just as an overall thought process, in your coaching the team, would you rather have somebody take a big swing at quarterback so when the salary cap comes in where he's basically there to fill in the holes that you can't always have, or would you rather just try to build a great team around a capable quarterback? Well,
you know, again, a lot of it depends on what you're looking for in terms of the money. I mean, it really does. If the finances, you know, have to, you know, force you to help make your decisions, then you go with the finance, obviously. And to me, is the quarterback you take more than capable? If you believe that and you take that quarterback at number one, because we went through it in Carolina, and we had a rule of thumb when we went through it in the 2011 draft, okay? Is Cam Newton going to be that guy? And if he is, we had to make sure we had the offensive line to protect him, all right? The schemes to protect him. And then we had to have the playmakers around them. So you got to protect them and have playmakers. You know, and for what I've seen, there's some pretty good playmakers, and I do think that there's some stout guys up front. You can add a couple more pieces to the picture. Who knows? That might be the way to go. But if you decide to go with Justin, a guy that has established himself, developed the relationships that he has, then you stay there. And again, I can't sit there and tell anybody what to do. I can just tell everybody what I see.
But you have an interesting perspective here because you've had to scheme against this Bears team the last two seasons. What is that like trying to prepare for Justin Fields?
Well, see, and this is the one thing that I'm going to say about all these young quarterbacks that are coming out there. The ability to extend the play and get the ball downfield is probably the most disruptive thing to defenses right now, because the ability to move and keep those receivers going downfield create the opportunity for the explosives, and that's where you can get into a lot of trouble. Secondly, if he can't throw it, he can run it. Now, the problem that comes into it, and you're starting to see this happen to a lot of those young quarterbacks that are running, they're getting hurt. They're taking big shots, so you've got to be aware of that. And that could be true for some of these guys that are coming out this year in this year's draft, because they're all mobile. They can extend plays, but they can also make plays downfield with their feet. So again, there's going to be a trade-off. So if you do anything, you better make sure you've got not just a good young quarterback, but a quality backup ready to go.
Last one. Can you give me a favorite moment on the field as a Bear?
Oh, gosh. There's so many of them. There really are. It's funny. I was in town recently for an autograph signing, and it's funny because, I haven't been able to do anything like that in the last 20 years. And so this company thought it would be really good for me to be there, because now these people that have been doing Super Bowl 20 stuff can get it back. So I would have to say probably my most favorite moment, obviously, was when the clock read 0-0-0 in the Superdome. Yeah. Winning that Super Bowl 20 was about as special as it gets. But one of the most special things that happened most recently was finding out Steve McMichael is a Hall of Famer now. I mean, that to me is about as classy as it gets. A guy that's well-deserved, because, so much credit goes to the guys that make all the plays. And he made a lot of plays. But the thing that Steve did more so than anybody else on that defense, was he helped make the guys around him even better. If you could imagine, he helped Dan Hampton be better. He helped Richard Dent be better. He helped Mike Singletary be better. He helped us all be better. Why? Because he did the dirty work, and yet he still was productive too.
The biggest voice ever. Love Mongo.
Bear for life, Ron Rivera. We could talk to you for hours, but we'll let you. Look at that thing right there. Love it. Thanks so much.
All right, guys. No, I appreciate it.
So nice
Thank you,
talking to you.
guys.
Thanks so much, man.
No, you're welcome, guys. Appreciate it.
How about the Super Bowl ring right there for you? If you're watching on YouTube, we put it right up to the camera. Back here on, I guess we're calling this Radio Row still. The NFL Combine. Adam Hoge, Mark Carman, Greg Braggs out. Nick left to get some writing done for all CHGO, so make sure you check that out. And then Steven producing here. We're going to get through some super chats with him momentarily. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that you should absolutely love that he's wearing that Super Bowl ring everywhere he goes. He's been around the league for 10,000 years, and he's wearing Super Bowl 20. I was number 59. Wasn't the best player on the field. Barely got on the field. Still wearing that ring. That's how much it means to him.
What was his verse in the song?
He wasn't in the song, Greg.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Is that a real question or not a real question?
It was a real question.
You don't know the whole Super Bowl show by heart?
No, I was 2 months old when the Bears won the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Not 37 years old.
No, I know. Right. No, don't lean into the history of the one time the Bears have won the Super Bowl.
I do have the VHS tape though.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't watch it. I would never pay attention to that.
We're definitely not going to talk about how Carm forgot who two very obvious people were today. We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, he only knows the Super Bowl shuffle song.
Listen, things are going south for me in a lot of ways. I lean into my youth. All right, should we get to whatever we're going to get to?
I can see them as well, but if you want to read them off, fire away.
First one here from Billy's Sports Take, $20. Braggs in the suits. You're looking really crushed there, Braggs. I gotta say,
man. I dress to impress, man. Like I don't know. I
don't think Flus was very impressed.
Flus was not impressed with me. I am 98% certain he knows I fired him 4 times. It's nothing personal. I'm still rooting for him, but it was either that or he was not feeling me jumping over Jason Leisure. And it was like, hey, you know what? I got there first. I was there 20 minutes before anybody else. Like, to me, that's like a badge of honor thing. You should show respect. Like, hey, I was here before anybody.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck? Don't hate.
Some of us showed up when he was already talking. That was me.
And look, love you, but Flus has got his people that he knows and is comfortable with.
Yes.
You're a total wild card.
Right. They all get to talk to him every week. This is my one chance to talk to him. So I'm going to ask a few more questions. I'm sorry, Matt.
Are you gonna wear
I'm sorry that I tried to fire you.
You going to wear a suit every day this week?
Not a suit every day, but I am dressing nicely every day. Yes.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I got to go to the mall.
I'm not going to dress like a complete jackass like some people on this set. Go ahead. It's a nice shirt, though. Get it at chgolocker.com.
That's a tough plug there.
I mean, really.
It's not the best plug for CHGO Locker I've ever heard.
Wow. Did upper management hear this?
But speaking of that,
I like the
30% off right now through Wednesday.
Yeah,
Now's the time.
yeah.
Get that sale. What did you call that shirt?
I said he's dressed like a jackass for the event we're at. Not that the shirt is bad. The shirt is amazing. I would wear it anywhere with pride, and you should too. At 30% off. Basically everything in the store with the exception of the new Chelios drop, which is a sweet ass design.
That is sweet. I want one of those. I did do a quick scan of the room here.
Yep.
And Carmelo the only one wearing a t-shirt.
Yeah, he's dressed like
what
he
are you
just woke
talking
up.
about?
Everyone knows the hoodie is the real NFL Combine.
Look,
uniform. I mean, Steven's here for the first time ever, and he's rocking a hoodie.
Pick a slob, any slob. They all look like slobs to me. Come on. Those shirts, what is that? An Eddie Bauer shirt from 1986 over there? Come on.
Are you talking about Kent, our producer for Hogan Johns, who's rocking a Hogan Johns hat, which you can buy at HoganJohns.com?
Yeah, him.
$5 super chat here from Dibs. First source, Carm is campaigning for Bagent to be QB1 next season. Ryan Poles looked him dead in the eyes and called him a sardine.
Yeah. Is there any truth to that?
Dibs, I'm not sure. First of all, I have not campaigned for QB1 for my guy Tyson Bagent, but I'm not saying he couldn't do it because he is Tyson Bagent and he is
Tyson Bagent, man.
He's the secret Bagent man.
I
I love him.
change the words.
All right, Oscar Styles.
That feels like it was
$10 from
three
Oscar
years ago,
Styles.
by the way,
Yeah.
when Bagent was playing quarterback.
2-2.
Yeah.
One of the best records in Bear quarterback history.
Johnny Manziel told Shannon Sharp he couldn't break down defenses in the NFL, and that's why he wasn't successful. Do you think that Justin's problem and why he will be traded?
No, I don't. I wouldn't say that's one of Justin's greatest strengths, but I don't think it's nearly as much. Johnny Manziel had a lot more problems than just that, by the way. that's putting it simply. I think that was more Mitch Trubisky's problem when it came to reading defenses, specifically post snap. I think Justin can do it. I think he does do it. I think he's just, like I say many times, just a tick too slow, and then pulling the trigger on what he actually is seeing.
And there could be some PTBD post. There's just some stress being the Bears quarterback. Feel like that? PTSD, PTBD. I think that's excellent. Post-traumatic Bears distress.
That needs to be cut so bad.
PTBD. He's got it, man. Came in with Nagy.
PTBD.
He's got PTBD.
He tries to get it, and he just goes, I think there's some stress playing Bears quarterback, which is the biggest understatement in the history of anything that's ever been said about the franchise.
But no one's ever gone PTBD the way I just did. That's brilliant by me. Point Carm.
You're a brilliant man.
Thank you.
Post-traumatic Bears disorder?
Yes. I could work on it a little bit better.
PTBD.
There's something
That's fantastic.
It needs to be. There needs to be. I mean, if we've got hits, we can have an acronym for what Justin went through as quarterback of the Bears.
But behind the camera that everyone watching can't see is our awesome PHNX crew is here, and they're all just looking at me like, this is what you deal with every day?
These guys have so much respect for the brilliance that I bring to the table every day. Look at them. Bo is like, dude, if I could get to work with this guy every day, think about what he could do for me. I could see it. Right? That's what he's doing. All right, next.
Yeah, we got 15 more of these.
We can work out a trade here.
15 more.
Yeah.
15 more super chats.
I heard.
Phil Unin, $5. The thing is, if Poles trades the pick and then Caleb ends up winning Rookie of the Year, Poles won't be here to draft another QB.
That's accurate.
I agree with that. Yeah.
For a guy who's got his career a little bit on the line, he's acting pretty damn confident.
But I don't agree with that completely. It wouldn't happen that fast. But yes, if Caleb's on the Rookie of the Year track and it doesn't work out with Justin, and then there's a firing coming. Probably not that fast, but eventually. Flus is probably gone then.
Thank you, Phil. Appreciate you.
$2 from Football CF Candy. Did you hear Flus's fourth quarter quote? Justin equals last in the fourth quarter.
I did hear his fourth quarter quote, and 2-minute and toughness, and
JJ McCarthy.
Justin's got the toughness. The 2-minute has not been a Bears forte.
No, neither is the fourth quarter or third down or.
And then he talked about the importance of situational football. And then I asked him how he felt he did calling plays in situational football, and he wanted to kill me.
Yeah.
$10 from Birch, 7 at 91. Why isn't there a QB accuracy test at the combine like there was in the QB challenge in the 90s? This could have also saved us the trouble of drafting Cade McNown.
I mean, there is.
Well, they do throw. They
do throw. The throwing's whatever. You're not even wearing pads. You're throwing the otherwise. I don't know. Like, as much as we made fun of Carm for falling asleep at the workouts last year inside Lucas Oil Stadium, to me, the workouts here don't matter a ton. The numbers do. I want to cross, but again, it's not the end of the world. It's just I want to cross check 40 times, and if there's a weird outlier, then you double check that with the tape and stuff like that. But I don't know. The throwing, when I hear that a quarterback's not throwing at the combine.
Drake May, Caleb Williams.
Daniel Jeremiah had a nice 15-minute clip I watched where he broke down the what they're looking for in some of these drills. It was actually a really informative piece they put out. He talked about like the 3-cone drill and different things and highlighting what's important for each position. So I do think there is something to be drawn from it. But yeah, the spectacle that they put on over there at Lucas Oil is more of a dog and pony show as far as for the fans are concerned.
What's next, Steven?
Yeah, this one's special for you, Carm. From Nathan Lopez, $5. Why did no one ask Flus about Phil Snow? Cough, cough, Carm.
Oh, my.
In all seriousness,
you
great
know,
coverage, guys. Love the show. Watch it every day for Cali.
It's a great question. I've been on Carm for days about this, actually, and he's done nothing about it. It's been very disappointing. I think it's the biggest mystery. Where did Phil Snow go?
It's a huge blunder by me.
They hired his replacement the other day, and you still haven't talked about him.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you can't even name his name right now.
Matt Pease. Is that him?
Actually, pretty good job. Okay, good job.
Thank you. Look, I was so focused on 6 other things with Flus, and I got one question and got denied left and right. I apologize. Excellent job. I will work on that this week and try to be better and get that information because I do want to know what happened to Phil Snow.
My mom is in the chat saying I just bought a CHGO sweatshirt today at 30% off.
There you go.
Good
Let's
job,
go, Barb.
Get it in now. All right. Keep it rolling.
$2 from Chubbs82. Justin is gone. So many in denial of this.
Chubbs, always just able to bottom line things when others can't. He's just ahead of the curve, Chubbs.
Yep, he's a hardline guy.
Yep, this Chubbs knows.
Alex Amerling, $2. I would think a Fields trade gets done by next week.
It's not out of the realm of possibility that something happens here and it this week. Last year, Adam Schefter put out a tweet that was like the number 1 pick is for sale. It was pretty defiant. And then that trade did happen a week later. At some point, the Bears and Caleb Williams are going to meet. And is that the last thing they have to, get over the hump on? Or are they really going to drag this all the way out to the pro day? I doubt it. Because they also want to do right by Justin Fields.
Yeah, the poll said as much today, too.
Yeah. That's another thing that feels a little bit different. But again, that might change by the end of the week. I would say last year it felt a little bit more imminent that there was going to be movement quicker.
Well, let's see if the narrative change after they meet.
Yeah, we'll see if it changes by the time we leave here on Friday for sure.
Jaylon will be tagged. We'll be here a week from now. There will be no trade and or with Justin and or the pick. That's brilliant, Carm.
Victor Cruz, $10. I don't think Justin is a top 3 issue in the offense. Why use a number 1 overall pick? Get him the best receiver in the draft and draft lot 2 at 9. Address the center and guard in free agency. Go Bears.
Victor, speak with your heart, Victor. Like it. Appreciate it.
It's an option.
Sure. Absolutely, it's an option.
$20 from Big Krem. Gotta respect Bragg's dressing to impress. Granted, still looks like a lawyer that will end up getting you more jail time than getting you out of trouble. But shout out to him because he keeps giving me Carm profile pics.
Okay.
He's using the new.
Yeah. He went.
I got my
photo from last night that John Lovitz.
You look like such an idiot.
I mean, I've spent the entire show hoping that I don't get sprayed by your face. So
we're doing this on
we're not talking about this.
No, you just did it. So then I retaliated as hard as I possibly could. And by the way, Braggs doesn't get credit for that photo because it was taken by our waiter, Matt,
6'4",
who you called you just sized him up. You didn't ask him his name. What's up, 6'4"? And he's like, excuse me, aren't you?
This is a true story. Waiter comes up to the table. Have you guys been here before? Bragg's sitting basically under him, goes 6'4".
And he goes,
and he was like,
he's like,
yeah, my height,
yeah,
6'4",
yeah,
exactly.
Nailed it.
Weirdo.
Nailed it.
And then 6'4" took the photo.
6'4" took the photo.
Yeah, I'll take the next photo.
It was not 6'4"'s fault that you look like that.
No, it's terrible. I've been eating terrible. I injured my calf. I put on weight. I look horrible. It was a bad hair day too. Everything went wrong. And you know, never mind. I won't say that. Keep going. What's next?
A big one here from the Duke. $50.
Let's go. The Duke. He's back.
He's back.
I miss the Duke so much. I can't. I haven't
Spoiler,
been
he'll be
sleeping.
back
Dude.
once
He's
more in
super
here,
chatting while he's naked.
Don't know what that meant. All right.
That's weird.
What if the Bears do both? What if they fall in love with Daniels or Drake? What if we trade Justin and everyone thinks it's Caleb Williams, but then draft night comes and we trade back? Did everyone get what they wanted? Did no one? Shower thought.
See, shower.
Now it makes
shower
sense.
thought. He's
I-
naked.
And good job by the Duke. It's
It's like
not
when
easy.
you told Rich Eisen last year that you watch him in the shower.
I listened to him in the shower, and I emailed him about it, and he never came on the show. And
You
it's
know,
really-
now that you've been on his show,
Yeah,
you need to figure that out this weekend.
yeah, that's true.
You go up to him, you say, you gave us your email last year, you promised to come on the show, you didn't come on the show, and now you're using my questions on your show. This is
Yeah, yeah.
unacceptable. You go tell Rich
I'm
Eisen
going
that.
to.
Yeah.
I am going to.
Yeah. See how that goes for you.
I think you should, and I can't. Please report back. Maybe
Tonight when we're painting the town red till 3 a.m. Can't wait.
Red?
Paint the town red. Have you never
Because
heard?
the Badgers are going to beat IU tonight down in Bloomington.
Ooh,
Yeah.
a battle of two crappy Big Ten teams.
That seems aggressive and not accurate.
what else did the Duke have to
The
say?
Duke showers us with more money. I'm changing sides. I now want Fields to be traded, and I want them to trade back out of one. I want everyone or no one to be happy. I'm on Team Chaos now. I want to watch Bears Twitter burn.
I say no quarterback. No more. We don't even need to have a quarterback.
Start Roshan Johnson there. Flus had some nice
Go
words
back
to say.
to Wildcat. We don't need a quarterback. We need a football team.
Make Holcomb at the QB.
All right. $20 from Dan Evans. Didn't leave a message, but we truly appreciate the support.
Make Tony Medlin the QB.
Okay, Tony Medlin.
Later, Hug.
Yeah, well,
Wow.
no, I think we're.
Look what you guys did. You got Nick and Hoge just off the show now.
I think
left.
Hogue might be.
This isn't my fault.
I think Hogue might be trying to bring
He
us in a power
literally-
guest.
He's literally just power walking. No, he's going to the bathroom.
He's got a great bounce. I love
Talk
Hogue's
about
walk.
not having control of your bladder.
What time is the
Yes.
next? Do we need to be out of here?
Yeah, we should probably move on here.
Keep
We
going.
next
absolutely
one.
should.
Vibing with the Dogs, $5 super chat. Greg, I'll be there Saturday. You better say hi and wish me a happy belated because I'll be 24 on Wednesday.
Who said this?
Vibing with the Dogs.
Elise. Elise is going to be in town on Saturday. Yeah. We'll see if I wish you a happy birthday. It's just a matter of how nice you are to me on Twitter.
Are we just going to ignore that Carm just barked into our headsets? here? That
I'll
was-
be when she says I'll be there Saturday. Where is
The
there?
combine to watch the quarterbacks.
Oh,
She was here last
I
year as
see,
well.
I see. I
Yeah,
got-
Elise is a good friend.
I-
We'll see if I'm nice to her and wish her a happy birthday. I'll be here on Saturday as well.
At least that vibing with the dogs bark was solely for you and only for you. Who do we got?
$5 from Tito. If you trade the pick, you build up the team and have more room for error. If you pick at 1 and 9, they have to hit. Which would you rather have?
Depends on the package of picks you get in the trade. You know, and that's where you guys were talking about yesterday with Peter King, and he's saying trade back one spot, get 1 first-round pick, 1 second-round pick. Trade back from 2 to 8, get 1 first-round pick from the Falcons, get their second-round pick. For me, that's not enough. I need a lot more. A lot more.
Bears fans, they have the number 1 pick. There is a consensus top quarterback in the draft. It would be unprecedented if you passed on that opportunity. I think we got to settle into some level of reality here. They have the number 1 pick. There is a consensus number 1 there.
Yep.
We have not won the Super Bowl since 1985, and quarterback play, I get all the things. It would be very surprising if they don't do it. Very surprising.
$5 from Sweetness 34. This time next week, Fields will be traded. I love the kid, and we didn't set him up for the best, but let's
Correct.
be logical here. He's gone.
Correct, as far as the loving and want the best for him and all the things.
Your favorite, Carm, Matt Nuku, $5.
Nuku.
Still sounded right down the middle for polls, keeping those cards close to the chest. Calm, cool, and collected as always. Bear down.
He was Nuku. You're absolutely right.
He was laughing when he walked up to the podium, smiling.
He had all the chill yet focused Flus vibes or Poles vibes. Excuse me. You well summed up once again by Nuku, my guy.
Another super chat from Vibing with the Dogs, $2. I'll ask each of you just one team here. Where do you think Fields ultimately ends up?
Steelers.
I'll throw a wild card in there. Denver got no money. need a QB. Pittsburgh has said nice things about Kenny Pickett. Every time I bring that up, people scream at me, but I'll go Denver.
I like it. The last one here, $5 from Hector Zambrano. All this fuss about Fields and Williams, while behind the scenes, Bagent is working his ass off. And like Purdy, he may be the better quarterback. Is that your burner, Carm?
It isn't, but it should be. And look, my understanding is that right now Tyson Bagent is doing both a downward dog and a plank, and he's working on his flexibility with the shoulder to get that arm strength where it needs to be. So he's having a big time off season.
All right, that was the last one. I want to remind everyone to subscribe. We're trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by Monday, which will be CHGO's 2-year anniversary. So please help us get there. We're under 1,000 away right now. And make sure you hit the like button as well.
Pass along to a friend. Do whatever you got to do to, if you love the show, to support the show. We really appreciate it. I don't know what happened to Adam Hoge, but it was a great effort today.
Hoge's pooping. He went to the bathroom. He hasn't been out yet, so he's clearly pooping. And so just also, we did Die Hard overtime yesterday, and it was a solid 2 hours of telling combine stories from last year. I'm going to do everything I can to do Die Hard, not, overtimes where we normally go immediately following the show, but when we get back to our residency that we're staying in here in Indianapolis, I'm going to do some more Die Hard stuff on the Discord channel, talking to people about what we're seeing and hearing, and more of an exclusive conversation for the people that sign up to be a diehard. So you go to allchgo.com/diehard and hop into the Discord spaces, as we call it, and you can hang out and talk with us. And I'm going to come on it as much as I can all week long with you guys.
Our Bears 100 board is in there as we continue to throw information as we compile it on the various draft picks, the various options. Get that T-shirt. It's a great way to support us. We really appreciate it when you do. allchgo.com. All right, for the writing, Nicholas Moreano, and as Greg Braggs eloquently put it, the pooping, Adam Hoge. And our producer Steven, host Greg, yours truly, Carm. Thank you to Ron Rivera for being on today. Thank you to I guess the Flus and the Poles for speaking today, and we were at least able to hang out with them. Hopefully we'll get them on the show sometime soon, like within the next year. We will see you tomorrow. Huge guest tomorrow, Jeremy Fowler, and a whole lot more. We're here at the Combine all week. Tell a friend. You love CHGO Bears. We'll see you next time.
We all silly like the mayor.